I think we're live. I think we're live. Matt says we're live, and I believe him. Matt's never lied to me. What's up, Ferd, Dennis, Ben, Deanna, Matt, Chris, Stretch CPO, Hit Metalworks, Papa Blue, Peter Dunbar. What's up, buddy? Hope you're well. We got Super Lead, Joe H, got Coots, and of course Ian's Guitar Shack, Retro Puffer, Bonkers, James Murphy, Trolls, and Frank C. Hearing a lot of banging over there. What's up, Speaker? What's up, Fretless Ed? They're overlaying for me to run an ad. Now would be a good time to run an ad. Oh, I bet it would be. Damn it. Now, who did I miss? Rico B, CJ Lawrence, Vince, Rick, Eli, Yeti Motzi, Retro Puffer, Eddie Faye. We got all the regulars here. Doing well. Good to hear, man. What's up, Mia and Mike and Sean and Larry and Dennis, Ben, Surf B, and Word and Blue and Martian and CC. Sometimes I've got to abbreviate. Nelson, Rock and Rob, Gary Davlin. I'm trying to find people I haven't said already. It's hard to memorize the people you've already mentioned. And, right, Ben Coombs? Got Blackjack Guitar. John Doe. What's up, Andrew? Ogre Lord. Yeah, happy post-turkey weekend. Yep. So it's funny. We don't cook a whole turkey. They make a turkey breast at Costco that's really good. It's just like this big turkey breast, and it's really good, and it's roasted, and all you have to do is like really heat it up for about 30 minutes in water, and a very thin little bit of water in the bottom of a pan, and you heat it slowly in the oven to basically, bring it up to temperature, and it comes out so good. It's so great. And but even just doing that little thing, which is an immense time saver over making a whole friggin' turkey. When we the last day, I think it was the Wednesday, right? So Wednesday it was pouring rain here, and my wife went to Costco, and she goes, it was kind of empty. And they were like, oh, you should have seen it yesterday, because everybody saw the rain coming and they didn't want to shop in the rain. So she went there Wednesday, and she goes, when you walked in, they had like a whole turkey dinner. She goes, it was like a half a turkey, and like, a bunch of sides and everything was like $40. She goes, 2 of those, and we would have been set. And I'm like, I know, it's like, it's so hard to even make anything any longer. It's like, you can just get it pre-made. It's pretty damn good. It's not that expensive. And by the time you're done with all the hassle, I like to just go out. But a lot of people, they're like, oh, you can't go out for Thanksgiving. I'm like, why not? Sure you can. Sure you can. I'll take the lobster and petite sirloin. That's my Thanksgiving. So, what's up, Corey? Headstock Harlem. Harlem or Harem, one of them. Right, Ripley? It's one of those. Ripley did ham this year. Nice. It's usually an Easter thing. We got it down. It's turkey at Thanksgiving, tenderloin at Christmas, and a freaking ham at Easter. Hey, that's our year. There it is. It's a good riff. Anyway, we should corned beef and cabbage. That could be for Easter. Trust me on that. I don't know. We're having ham, right? Well, it's like ham. It's not that thing that you put in the pot with everything and it smells like sauerkraut. Yeah, boiled dinner. This guitar would look good in red. Damn it, now I gotta paint it. I'm just gonna go like a red sparkle with like lots of metal flake. So let's talk about the Satriani controversy, if you can even call it that. I didn't even know about this until I saw Andy Wood's video, because I don't really follow Instagram like he does. He's way more on Instagram. And quite frankly, I don't follow a lot of social media, you know. But anyway, apparently, in the video entitled Eddie Van Halen's Hardest Riff on the Howard Stern Show, right? That's literally the title of the video, right? Eddie Van Halen's Hardest Riff, where he asks Joe Satriani, you know, how hard is it to play it? And he says, well, there's this one riff that's like really hard, you know? And he talks about, you know, again, if you haven't, you know, I can't play it. First of all, I probably could never play it because I'm a lefty, not a righty. That's what we would, see this right here? See this? That's not regular guitar. That's what we would call stunt guitar. And stunt guitar is cool if you do it once, which is what Eddie did. He was smart enough not to do it more than once. He did use it on one tune. You use it more than once and a stunt becomes a cliche, like tapping, right? So he very wisely did it on one guitar. It's something he worked out. If you've ever seen him live, he doesn't play it like the album when you see him live. He just doesn't, right? He's never really played it exactly like the record again. It's a you know, it's a friggin' freeform improvisation. Not to say it's not good. It's just not like the album. But, you know, if you're a huge Eddie follower, and apparently, you know that there's a bunch of dudes out there that are that. That's what they are. You know, they're sort of known for their Eddie chops. They learned it, right? They spent countless hours learning how to play it and nailing the record version, the version that's on the record. And so, you know, there was a lot of tagging Joe Satriani by dudes either who were playing it and saying, look how good I can play it, bro. And or dudes tagging him with other people playing it going, look how good that dude can play it, bro. It's like, well, yeah, because, well, you spending all those hours learning how to play something you heard on a record, Joe Satriani was making records 15 Grammy-nominated records. So, there's that. And, you got to remember that, Eddie isn't the type of dude that Joe Satriani would learn. He's a peer. They're almost the same age, right? You don't learn the music of your peers. You learn it of your seniors. And that's exactly what Joe Satriani did. In fact, Joe Satriani was not unlike those dudes there at one point in his life. He found a dude that he was absolutely gaga over, Jimi Hendrix, and he learned how to play Jimi Hendrix exactly, and I mean exactly, like Jimi Hendrix. It was stunning. He could play Hendrix. You couldn't tell the difference. Just one of those dudes. He just learned it and spent countless hours and got it down. But he knew that's getting you nowhere. What are you doing with that? Nothing. He had to do something different, and he did. He did his tunes. He did his melodies. He did his stuff. So he's not going to know those tunes. This is a favor he's doing to like Sammy and Mike. They don't want to bring in a new guy. They could go out and find some Eddie clone. They could go out there and hire Russ from Satchel. Not Satch. Satchel. He can sing. He was in a Van Halen cover band tribute band at one point. He knows all the riffs. But they want to work with someone that they know. So they bring in Joe Satriani, who I thought did a bang-up job considering they had like zero rehearsal. And I just could not, it's one thing for the no-names, but the one dude that I was kind of surprised that he did it was Jacob Draps. Now, there's a dude who's just sort of known as an Eddie guy. What's Jacob Draps known for other than his ability to play Eddie Van Halen? And he rushed onto YouTube to make a video of him playing that perfectly, right? All I could think of was, oh, good for you. What's going on? Yeah, we're having the trophy made for you right now, bro. And it was like, dude, you want to be a pro in this industry. That comes off as a bit amateurish, in my estimation. Pro musicians don't do that. Don't do that. They just don't. There's a sort of a professionalism. You talk to actors, you talk to any musician. Everybody's awesome. Never forget that. Everybody's awesome. There's very little slagging going on. The ones who do don't last. So to like run out and throw that up there and have, of course, a whole bunch of people. Now, he just could be chasing eyeballs. You can't fault the YouTuber for that. But to just sort of put that out there and, the comments are just filled with, see, they should have got you instead of Satriani. Oh, I know why you did this. Ha, ha, ha. And it was like, really? I mean, I guess. But I wouldn't be expecting, there was a time when that dude would get invited on stage by like Dweezil Zappa, and Dweezil would say, oh, this guy's an incredible Van Halen player, one of the best Van Halen players I've ever seen, blah, 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 blah. You think he's inviting you up there again? Keep doing that. And no. They're going to be like, oh, dude, that's not cool. You're crapping on, that. And so a lot of people have been saying, Wolfgang, that's never happening. It's never going to happen. Because, a couple of things. If you'll notice, Wolfgang doesn't really play any of the later material. He's an all sort of Dave era kind of guy, number one. Not that he couldn't do it, but that doesn't seem what he's focused on. And number two, I'm sure his dad told him, whatever you do, don't start a friggin' Van Halen tribute band. Go out and make your own music. Go out and do your own thing. Go out and do your own band. But to be going into like this band as like the guitar player, absolutely, there's no way. There's no way he would do that. Why would you ever do that? That if I was his friggin' agent, I would say, no. No. So, exactly, Ben. Wolfgang has his own career. And again, Satriani's doing this as like a favor to these guys because he knows them. They're friends. They had the Chicken Foot project together for a while. So they come to him and he goes, hey, man, I'd love if you would play on this. Yeah, okay. You know, it's like, but you think they're going to go out there and scour the world for, like, the player that's, that immediately fits the mold? No, they want to work with someone and they know they want to work with. They're of that age. Sammy at age 76 doesn't want to work with somebody new. Period. No, work with the same guy that he's worked with. And so, I don't think there's any, by the time they actually go on tour, I'm sure he's going to have that. The other thing is I don't think they're doing Mean Street on the tour. Right? This is a whole sideshow. Right? That's a Dave era tune. I don't think they're doing it. I think they asked him, what's the, Van Halen's hardest riff? Oh, this one. This is he's got this rhythm thing. It's really hard. And I could not believe it. I was like, wow. I think what happened is that, Sammy had a date that he could get on the Stern Show. And he wanted to squeeze us in there. When are they going on tour? 2024? They're probably not going to go on tour until starting in May or June? Is that tour even running in the winter? I don't think it is. Bands don't run in the winter anymore because they get slowdowns with snow and ice and things like that. They've learned just to go in the summer. So most tours run mainly through April through about October. Yeah, it's next summer, right, Sammy? I think so. So it's just, I just thought the whole thing, first of all, was a bit of a nothing burger. Because, one, I don't think they're doing the tune. And two, what did you expect? He's just learning this material. Again, he's not some dude. And then you have some dude who's dedicated his life to learning Van Halen to the craziest nuance. And he's like, I can do it. Again, all I could hear was, oh, good for you. Every time. But, it's and again, it underscores the insecurity of the guitarist. Right? The deep-rooted insecurity of the average guitar player. Right? What's the old joke? How many guitar players does it take to screw in a light bulb? 12, 1 to screw it in, and 11 to stand there and say, I could do that. Exactly, Bill. Good for you. Exactly, Peter. Such has nothing to prove. Please, he's written some of the greatest. He had the greatest selling instrumental guitar album of all time with Surfing with the Alien. I thought Black Swans and Wormhole Wizards was a friggin' masterpiece. I had not heard Satriani material, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to give this guy a try again. I think the last time I bought an album from him was in 1988. And now it's, 2010. Then he just put an album out. Then I skipped over the whole Summer Song era and all that stuff. I missed all that. He had all this stuff in there and I missed it all. I said, you know what, I'm just going to check out this album. And from one end to the other, the whole friggin' album, I loved it. I was like, oh my God, the melodies, the use of the wah-wah pedal, the use of the keyboards, just everything about this album. It's perfect from the first note to the last. I was just completely impressed by it. So, he's sort of done his own thing. Quite well. Quite well, I would say. So, I would just say, give the guy the respect he deserves. And, a lot of the punk-ass kids. I'm talking about the punk-ass kids. You know those kids. Get off my lawn. They're out there, what with their double tapping and their Pokemon. One can only assume. Like I said, it's not like they couldn't find someone who could do the material perfectly. It's just that, so what? I found a guy who's good enough for you assholes. Why I oughta. Don't make me come over there. Am I going to go see Vi and Satch at the Orpheum? I don't think so, Michael, because there's really only one. I found out there's really only one place in the Orpheum that I can sit, and it's at the front, I went to see a show at the Orpheum, and I was like, oh, this isn't too bad. Because we were at the mezzanine, and we were at, the very front row, so there's a whole, we had people walking past us, but it settled down after a while. Then I got a seat somewhere in the middle, and my knees were just jammed against the seat in front of me. I was like, oh my God. We were about halfway through the show. My wife was like, how you doing? I'm like, are you enjoying this? Are we enjoying this? The seats are so small. It's and my knee was jammed right to the seat in front of me. I had to spin sideways. I was like, oh no, I don't think I can do the Orpheum. So the only way I could do it is if it was, if we could get some front row mezzanine, like we had for, I think that was Pat Metheny. That was great. But unlikely. I think those are already sold out. I checked. Either they weren't for sale yet or they were sold. Dude, I'm 6'6". I think I'll die if I'm going. It's one of the worst venues for seat distance between rows. The Orpheum, famously tight seats. They just redid the TD Bank North Garden, the Boston Garden, and I've heard massive complaints that the Garden they squoze a little too tight, and it's tricky. They're even in the big seats, it's tight. Trying to get one extra row or two extra seats in a row. All right, so while we're talking about the crap in the title, you realize how hard it is to come up with new crap every week. I try not to do the, Saturday Night Hang. Yeah, you'll see that a lot, and then what they do is they come up with the title afterwards based on what's talked about in the episode. That's pretty common. But I try to come up with something before I start. The Hall v. Oates. You know what? I kind of felt bad for John Oates, because it came off it is corrected as a restraining order, but this is not a criminal matter, it's a civil matter. So what happened is at one point, and a lot of, bands have been doing this because they're going to come up on their stuff going public domain. The law changed in the 80s, it changed through the 90s. But if you're in a period between, say, 1940 and say in maybe the early 90s, before the Sonny Bono law went into place, then it's the publication date plus 95 years. And you're like, well, that's plenty of time. Yeah, but the stuff was published in the 60s, and we're in the 20s now, and it's going to expire in the 50s, and that's not that far away, 25 years from now, right? 35 years from now. All the stuff from the 60s is going to start expiring from the publication date, and it becomes public domain. So they sell it off because they know it's going to go public domain, try and cash it out now, before it goes over, right? You have to the material has to be copyrighted. I want to say after like it's like the early '90s or the late '80s. There's that Sonny Bono law went into effect that went to like the life. They started to do it by life, the life of the person plus like 70 years, right? Which can be considerably longer. A person can live 90 years. Then you add another 70 and there's 160 years instead of the 95 years. If it's corporate, though, it's still the 95 years. So, basically, there's been a run by people from the 60s, the 50s, and the 60s, and the 70s to sell their catalog, right? Because it's gonna expire. So it becomes public domain, and then then anyone can use it. So, not the mechanical versions, just the copyright of the song itself. In other words, anyone can copy it, and they don't have to pay a royalty. But I don't know that the recordings. I'm not really. That'd be an interesting. I'm not sure about that. Like if the mechanical goes. Anyway. John Oates had already partially sold his catalog. All right, and he's in partners with, Hall and Oates Corp. Or LLC or whatever the hell it is. And he wanted to sell to the same company that already owns it. He wanted to sell the remaining, whatever he had left for publication rights, he wanted to sell that off as a lump sum. And Hall didn't want him to. I don't know if Hall doesn't like the new partner or doesn't want to, whatever, but Hall wants to block it. He doesn't want him selling off the remainder of the catalog. So, which is probably his right to do so. I don't know. I'd have to see if they have an LLC agreement between them. But at any rate, he wants to sell it to the same company that already owns the partial rights to the company. He wants to sell the remainder, and Hall wants to block him. So to block him, he goes into court and he files for a preliminary injunction, and that's enforced through a restraining order, right? A judge issues an order to restrain someone from doing something, which is basically go through with the sale. So they're enjoined from going through on the sale temporarily until the court has a chance to hear the arguments. Because once it's sold, it's hard to unring the bell, right? They're going to tear down the old Johnson estate, run down to court and get a preliminary injunction and a restraining order, right? Because once they knock it down, there's no putting it back up again, right? So a court is likely to grant it, to say, okay, all right, hold on. Before you smash the thing to the ground, let's take a look at it. So the same thing with this. Before you commence with the sale, and we can't unring that bell, and we're embroiled in even more litigation, let's prevent the sale. Let's put a hold on it until the court has a chance to hear what Mr. Hall's arguments are. Now, his arguments may go nowhere, and the sale just goes through. Or maybe there is some language somewhere, and the court will say, well, no, you're bound here. You can't sell the remainder of this catalog. You agreed in this that certain parts of the catalog shall not be sold, and therefore you're precluded from selling those parts. Whatever. Maybe Hall has an argument. Maybe he's just Daryl Hall. I'm just saying, the man's got a rep. Daryl, you're a rich boy, you've gone too far. All you want to do is sell his catalog. But you say no, cause you don't want to deal. You say no, cause you don't want to deal with the new owner. So, yeah. It's not... I felt bad for John Oates because it felt like he got a restraining order on, which he did, but it's not the one that you think of. You think of like somebody like stalking somebody, right? And and somebody had to run out and get a restraining order to keep them at a 500-foot distance or greater. Well, that's not this at all, but that is the correct terminology. It is a restraining order. It's an order by the judge restraining something from happening. It's just that in a limited time until they have a chance to at least have a preliminary hearing on the matter. So anyway. So I kind of felt bad because people were like, oh my God, did you hear? Hall got a restraining order against Oates. Oh my God. Oates must be a nutball. It's like, no. There's nothing. He's fine. He's trying to conduct business, and Hall isn't having it. Hall was like, no. I thought it was called an injunction. It depends on the court if they get to use their own terminology. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be appearing on Daryl's House anytime soon. You're a rich dude, but you want some more because you know it doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, preliminary injunction. Yeah. Preliminary orders. But it's carried out through a restraining order. That's the actual order. Well, cease and desist is a letter requesting it, but that has no power. Right? You send a cease and desist letter from right? I think you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. There's a cease and desist letter. But what you really do is you sue and you get a restraining order to do it temporarily, but that becomes what is that? Is it enjoined? Exactly, the cease and desist is the start. So as my normal Thanksgiving tradition, I watched a lot of Mystery Science Theater 3000. I didn't watch their marathon, though they had a good mix-up. A lot of times they do the marathon, it's the same movies every year, but they finally broke out of that, and they had a different lineup this year. But, yeah, I caught a bunch of ones. I tracked down, they're a little hard to find online, but I tracked down the 2 Godzilla movies. Those are hard because the Godzilla, the owners of that copyright, and they are like brutal. You think the Eagles are bad. The people that own Godzilla, yeah, they are relentless. They allowed it for a certain purpose, but when they went to go release it on DVD, they got a cease and desist letter. And they had to recall them from store shelves and replace it with a different movie. They just found another dinosaur movie or something to put on there so they wouldn't have to change the cover. And they had to get rid. They changed it to like a dinosaur instead of like Godzilla, because they were using. The Godzilla people were not happy, and they filed a cease and desist letter, and that was all it took, because Godzilla money. Godzilla has, if anything, deep pockets. They definitely have deep pockets. So they were like putting the atomic breath on the Mystery Science Theater, and they don't want to get in a fight with the Godzilla people. They have money, so they pulled it from shelves. So, but it's out there. You can find it if you look around. Someone's posted it somewhere. I think Internet Archive has a bunch of copies up there. You just do a search. The Gamera movies are all finally released. You can go to Shout TV, Shoutcast. What's it called? Shout TV. You can see at least in the States you can. They were very upset what they felt, and they were not incorrect. A mocking of the Gamera, which they took very seriously. They were very offended by the treatment of Gamera. And no, they're all there. There they are. You can see Gamera versus Baragon, Gamera versus Gauss, Gamera versus Gyron, which is the best because it's like a lizard with a giant knife for a face. I totally remember that when I was a kid. And then, of course, Gamera versus Zigra. Or Zigra. So all of them, all the Gameras are up there. The people that own Shoutcast, I think their parent company went up for sale as a part of a bigger lot. They wound up buying it, and so they own it. And then the new owner, or someone bought it, and they have no problem like allowing it because they just see it as getting money back for the IP catalog they purchased. So they're out there. The Gameras you can get. You can't get Godzilla. That franchise is alive and well, and it's very well funded. I will say, you should see. The Godzilla people recently put out. Let me see if I can find it here for you and show it to you. They put out a. They put out an update. Yeah. I can't play it. I gotta stop it. Let me see if I can get a still shot here that shows. Yeah, maybe. Come on. Yeah. Hold on. There. It was Godzilla versus Megalon. And, it's all CGI. But they bring Megalon back and all the stuff that, because they're never going to make a movie about Megalon. And, boy, it's so well done. I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, it's just so wonderfully done. And, I forgot about the electricity. And then they even have Godzilla in the original Megalon movie. At one point, seems to just fly on his tail. Like across, right? He's clearly on wires. And his feet just crash into him. And this one, they explain it by having like his spine like light up, and there's like some sort of an ejection of like atomic material, and that catapults him forward. But they work it out. It's an homage to that horrible scene that they literally, when they play it on Mystery Science Theater 3000, the whole cast like bursts into laughter. They're like, "Oh, you cannot be serious! It's so bad." Exactly. I bet you Gamer can't play the Mean Streets intro. Oh god, that's good. So I don't know if you saw the Black Friday video I did, um, but I can just tell you, I don't know who buys what. They don't, they don't give you names, that's for sure. But they do tell you what's sold, so that you can, sort of keeps them honest about what's sold and whatever. And by far the number one item that's sold were the strings, the Diodario strings, the box, the 10 box strings for, I think it was $36. That was, I think, by far the number one seller. And after that, I would say the Joyo clip-on tuner seemed to be pretty popular. And the headphones. But I think they ran out of the headphones. The headphones seem to sell out. They probably just don't stock as many. Did you get some of those head? That's what I'm wearing them now. They're wonderful. They're super. Thanks for asking. You got strings in the tuners? Yeah. Tenso, you got them? Yeah. Did you get THU? Yeah. Did anyone try Tonex? I didn't. I mean, for $80, I was so tempted. Oh, got some Hoser cable. See the Sweetwater. You really got to dig to see what's sold. They're like, you sold a bunch of crap. It's like, oh, okay. But they don't. You can drill down and get to it, but it's not like Amazon. Amazon sort of just shows it all right there on a table. What's up, Tony? You got a player Strat HSS from Sweetwater? Yeah, Vola's doing a good guitar deal right now. You can get an MIJ guitar for like in the mid-7s. That's insane. Like this guitar, like their most expensive guitars, like like $12.50, $12.59, something like that. That's crazy. Because you can't get another brand for less than $2,000 out of the same factory. You want to get a guitar made by the same factory, you got to like over $2,000. Granted, it'll have a different brand on the headstock, but it's the same factory. I think my wife picked up. They had a really good deal on the iPad. I think it was like $100 off. So instead of $329, it was $229, and she just wants it to read books. So didn't need to have a crazy amount of storage. She's not really, gaming on it or anything like that. Steve, did your Big Picks guy have a Black Friday sale? I don't think so. He did announce a couple of new picks recently, but he's not the type of place to have like a big Black Friday sale or anything like that. It still takes the same amount of work to make the pick, so that's more like when you bought a bunch of picks from somebody and you're reselling them and you have a sale just to move some product. Is Vola having a sale? They are. 10% off. There's a link in the description, and I think when you get there, if the link doesn't automatically activate a 10% discount, then just, I think right on their site, they're going to say, it's probably BFCM10, right? Because it's BF for Black Friday, CM for Cyber Monday, and then 10 for 10% off, if I remember correctly. I think that's it. Everything you link is unavailable? No way. That's crazy. I know exactly that. Those odds is for, I think they're $8.39. Right, that's for the. It's already a steal, but take another 10% off of that. Showing, yeah, BFCM10. Hey, look at the brain on Brad. Aussie. I like it because it sounds like Aussie. Yeah. Right there. Right there, you get one in shell pink, or shell blue, or shell green, or shallow, or shell red, or shell brown. All the shells. Look at all the shells. I do like that Cobra. Cobras! I can't do the Homer voice. Cobras! Yeah, he's on the ground, right? He has the night terrors. Cobras! Cobras! God, I get it just for that. Yeah, I know, Shello is that's very wingway. Very wingway. Wingy. Oh, yeah. I tell you, the red looks good. Yeah. Yeah, I think the vintage stuff, well, although that does look very vintage, because there were a ton of black strats back then. I kind of like the blue. I like the metallic colors. I'd say even more than like the pearl color, you know what I'm saying? Well, not pearl, pastel. It's pastel. Oh my God. See, I like the metallic. For all your metallic riffs. Metallica? No. You shouldn't play Metallica on that. Could you? Sure, but you shouldn't. Did they copy Fender Cobra's Blue? Well, I think that Cobra Blue is from Ford, right? It's the Mustang Cobra Shelby Cobra Blue, right? Isn't that the blue? Right, because Fender just took all their colors from car companies. I thought mostly Ford. Yep, you missed the Satriani ordeal. We all decided that he's awesome and everyone else sucks. That was the end result. There it is. There's a Satch riff for you. Yeah, the Klon kit. He sold like 20,000 of them. It's been so long since I've played it. Yeah, you go sharp. I gotta lube my nuts. Bust a move, yeah. Bust the move is wonderful. I saw a Kid and Play in an ad recently. Bring back the Kid and the Play. Have a good one, Eddie. You ever play out with the bands? You should. I love you playing. Thanks. I'd like to get something together. It gets really difficult because, most of my friends, they really fall into two categories. They either work and don't really have a lot of time for band stuff between family and work. There's just really no time. Or they never really kept up with it. Their chops have really just gone to garbage. Or the people that have kept it up, they're really amazing musicians, and they are professional musicians, and they can't go and, just have a fun gig. They don't have time for that. They have to make money. Anytime they play their instrument, they have to be kind of making money from it. Right? There's no more pleasure playing. It's all for the money. So, it gets tricky. When you're younger, you got nothing else going on. So sure, I got plenty of time. Let's go jam. When you get older, it's definitely harder to find people, to jam and to get together with. I had reached out to a few people through Craigslist, but it was all just losers, man. They either wanted a full-time working gig, which I couldn't offer them, or they wanted, they were just terrible players. Yeah, once you pass along a video, and I was like, oh my God, that's really bad. That's really bad. So you got to really, it's hard because you got to find people that are up to your speed and not too far ahead and not too far back, and that's tricky. That is definitely tricky. Play the Dallas show in May. Yeah, have the Dallas show reach out to me. I wouldn't be going through a third party for that. Sure. Just go to an open blues night. I did that one time, but the club that used to host them is gone. Too many blues nights, apparently. Jimmy Wallace, the show producer, yeah. Yeah, Johnny D's Uptown used to have one, I think, on Sundays. I had a guy reach out to me one time. He's like, hey, man, you want to jam? I was like, yeah, sure. He's like, yeah, I have a place where we can jam. And he goes, and then like the day before we're supposed to get together, he's like, yeah, it's at like Johnny D's Uptown. It's like open mic night. I'm like, well, dude, this is, really? Yeah, well, good luck with that. I'm not going down to Johnny D's. It's like, it was really, because, at the last minute he decided, oh, maybe I don't want anyone over my house. Why don't we just meet at Johnny D Uptown? I was like, oh, okay. Well, good luck with that, dude. Like, oh my God. You know who was nice? You guys remember when I had Bill over? My buddy Bill? We were doing the AC/DC tunes. That's always good because we know them and we can just rip right through them. The problem with that, though, is I believe when he was over, I had like 14 friggin' copyright takedowns. I was like blocked in 19 countries. You start to get into that older Bon Scott catalog, and oh my God, they sold it 20 times over. Every tiny minuscule market has their own publishing house. It's really like the distribution is so spread out. Usually you only have to deal with like one or two companies. Old Bon Scott material, so who doesn't own it? You saw Dick Dale at Johnny D's? I saw, oh God, who was it? Freddie, Pee Wee, and Maceo Parker, right? So was it? What was Freddie's last name? The trombonist. Is it Hibbert? No. It was Freddie the trombonist, Pee Wee, who wrote The Chicken. He like literally wrote that tune. And Maceo Parker, who was I saw that trio at Johnny D's Uptown. Man, they were killing it. They sounded so good doing all the old James Brown. Yeah, is it Hubert? Yeah, you might be right. Is it Freddie? Is it Hubert? That sounds right. Like it's got an H. Wesley. That's what it is. Michael's got it right. I'm getting confused with someone else. It's Fred Wesley. Trombone. Yeah, so, and then Pee Wee. What was Pee Wee's last name? Ellis? And then Maceo Parker. That trio. Man. Pee was killing it. The problem with Pee Wee, though, is he's kind of deaf. Same with, and I think I want to say they had Kenwood Denard on drums. And he's kind of deaf, too. I believe Joe's a great choice to do this tribute. Yeah, well, like we were saying earlier, I think that they want to work with people that they've worked with. From Wiki, Pee Wee Ellis, yeah. Yeah, that sounds right? Right, the chicken, pick up. So good. So good, yeah. Yeah, Pete Townsend's mostly deaf too. He said it was headphones. He would crank up headphones, get drunk, throw headphones on, crank them up super high. I'm really careful about not running my headphones. Right now I have them at on the dial between the lowest is 7 p.m. and the highest is 5 p.m. It's at 10 a.m. Way down there. Oh, gotten deaf because of the in-ear monitors in the 80s. Yeah, they cranked them up. I believe it. I tell you, I had it wasn't this amp here, but that's where the amp was, but it was on the ground over here. And my desk used to be over right there, over right in that corner. And so I'd face the desk and have the amp on my left side, and I'd crank it up and I'd be playing. I'd go through the Viper, or I think I might have had a Line 6 for a little while, and the Viper or whatever, and I was going through it and playing it, whatever, and all of a sudden I developed a distortion in my friggin' left ear, like a crackling. And man, that really disturbing. Everything was going through a slit speaker. I was oh my God, I was really freaked out. And I wound up just putting an earplug in for a couple of weeks to keep it from getting, damaged any further, and just to let it heal. And then I never really went to headphones after that, and never really cranked it up. Just try and keep it under control. Yeah, I believe so. Tactical, the open back helps disperse the sound, so it's not all concentrated right in. I like the open backs. Besides, I don't like it when I can't hear what's going on in the room. I get too isolated. The exception is when I'm over at the synths. Those I have closed back headphones, those Neumanns. that guy, is it Rax Effects? RX Effects? Rax Effects? Sent me. And I'm right next to the furnace. So when that furnace is going, you're glad you have the clothes back. But I don't like it over here. It's too isolating, and I don't like it. An extra set of Stumac can make a big difference from the stock of eared pickups. The ears aren't that bad. It's tough to say. I feel like it'd be a lateral move, but you never know. It's not like the Stumacs, are like Duncans or DiMarzios or anything like that. It's still, those Stumacs are kind of a budget, right? Kind of a mid-tier pickup. That distortion stuff in my left ear, that only happens once in a while, but it's scary. It is. It's like literally going through a distortion box out of one ear. Everything. TV, everything. And I was like, oh, that's not good. It's like, no. That's probably not good. Yeah, you got a Dean Evo? I don't even know what that is. I'm so out of it. I know the Dean Cadillac, the ML, and the XL. That's about it. You got to check out the Cars playing on the Midnight Special. It's live, and they're playing all Deans. I think I want to say Elliot's playing an XL, and what's his name there? Is playing a Cadillac. Yeah, Rick Ocasek. Yeah, Rick's playing a Cadillac. I want to say a black one, if I remember correctly. And they're both guitar players are rocking the Deans. I want to say all the clips. I think they're all using Deans. Dean. Back then, look kind of mod, for its time. What's up, dude? Not a Dean bass. I want to say he was playing a Fender. Probably a Fender from the 60s. Looks like an old Fender. U.S. Jackson's overpriced now. I'd buy an MIJ. Even the MIJ stuff is in the 2000s. I remember I didn't want to spend $1,600 on a soloist. Now they're like $3,600. That wasn't that long ago. I remember seeing a soloist, an American made in USA soloist on there for like $8.99 and saying, oh, you should buy that. Of course, it sold so quickly. I think you're right. I think you did have a Vox, like a teardrop Vox. I think you're right. Let me see. Cars Midnight Special. Yeah, that's... I just gotta kill the audio here. What do we got? A lot of keyboard, a lot of bass player. Oh, yeah. There you go. So mod. So cool. That when I see Dean guitars, that's what I think of. I don't even, I remember Dimebag Darrell came out like long after. I was sort of out of the metal scene by like 86, 87. When does Pantera hit it big? They were around back then, but they were kind of dead. They didn't get any traction, I want to say, until 90, really 91, right? I think they changed singers. Anyway. Let me see if I can get a shot of, yeah, he's got a guitar, but you can't really, looking good there. Looking good there, Elliot. Let's see if I can find a shot. He's playing a Rick. Right? Ben. And then what do we got on? They really don't have any shots of. Oh, yeah, there it is. It's Cadillac. Right, y'all. Dean Cadillac. I do think of the Cars when I think of Dean. I'm just that of that era. Yeah, right. Let me see what he's playing in. That's moving in stereo. Let me see what he's playing in Let's Go. Yeah. It's a Music Man, right? Isn't that a Stingray? That's a Stingray, right? Music Man? Nice shirt. You're gaudy. Yeah, Stingray. Yeah. Do. I haven't played guitar all friggin' week. Oh, let me tell you how my Thanksgiving went. We finished the food. My sister and my parents leave. We're all clean. It's a big cleanup. I'm down here, and I hear what sounds like a jackhammer. I'm like, what the hell is that? Like, I can see the friggin' water pipe vibrating. I'm like, well, I go running upstairs. What's going on? And my wife has got the faucet. She's like, there's like water like pissing out of the top of it. I'm like, oh my God! Like, jump down, get on the floor. Like, it's hard for me to get down on my knees. I literally wear knee pads for me to do any of that friggin' work. And I've got to, like, an emergency, don't have time to put your knee pads on, dude. Get down there, get way under the back, and I turn the water off. I said, oh, thank God. She's like, what did you do? I go, I turned the water off. She goes, I have to do the dishes. I'm like, it's broken. It doesn't, no. So the next morning, yesterday morning, everybody was open early because of friggin' Black Friday, so they're actually open an hour early at 6 a.m., but I wasn't getting up that early. I got up at like 7. I went up over to Home Depot and bought a new faucet kit and had to come home and crawl under the friggin' sink, and we have a huge, good thing I bought the massive, most expensive friggin' disposal unit. I love it. But my goddamn is that thing enormous. And so we have this enormous, because basically it's a lot of sound baffling in there too. I think it's enormous. So it's like the most expensive one, It's like the Insecurities Platinum. So I'm trying to get under there. In fact, you can see I cut myself. It's not really a cut, it was a scratch. But I don't know what I hit, but man, it was really turning red and getting infected. So I doused it, I drenched it in hydrogen peroxide till it like foamed up. Kept dousing it until the foam went away. That's bacteria and stuff. And then I covered it up. Now it's fine. Now it's not. It doesn't even sting. It's over. But man, I scraped it on something under there. But anyway, finally got the old one out, and finally got the new one in, and got that. What a difference! It's been losing pressure. I feel like the innards of that one. Then now and this is important. The one that I took out, the one that was broken, was installed December of 2022. So we made it less than a year. So we used to have Delta. I think the first one I bought was probably like a Glacier Bay, right? But you might as well throw your money away. That stuff is garbage. It's like the in-house brand for Home Depot. It sucks. So when that broke, I went and I just said, you know what, I'll buy the Delta. I'll spend the money and get the Delta. And that Delta, it was the one that has the little ball at the end of the single stick, right? The little ball end one. That thing lasted 12 years, until it finally broke. But I was happy with that one. I had never had a problem with that one. Replace that one with a different Delta. And I knew, like, the first day I polished it down, the little thing that says hot and cold, like, turned to, like, I forget if it was all red or all blue, but basically one side was painted on, and the other one was two solid colors. Like, you could just tell the quality was going down. And that Delta one didn't last very long. So the last one I got, I said, you know what, rather than get another Delta, why don't you try mowing? We'll spend a little bit more money. And it didn't even last a year. Gone. So the one I put in was another Moen, because that's really all they had. It was either that or another Glacier Bay, and I wasn't spending that. And I couldn't really order one off of the internet. It would take too long. And damn it, we had dishes to do, because I have a stupid roll-around dishwasher that has to get friggin' plugged in. So I got it in, and what a difference in the water pressure. Oh, my God. That other one, there was something going on inside real bad. So got the new one in. That's how I spent most of my day. Getting that old friggin'. The old one was like a C-collar with 3 screws. You had to, like, loosen the screws and then back that C-collar off. Oh, weird. The new one was just a big plastic friggin' stump that goes, that just screws up, and they're like no tools needed, but if you didn't use a little tool to tighten it down at the very last end, that thing's going to go loose. They don't, I have no confidence in it. So we'll see how long this stupid one lasts. It's ridiculous. Pretty goddamn ridiculous. The only thing I bought on Black Friday was a new faucet. It was on sale. It was a new, and what do I need? I need what do they call that? A 4-hole. You could get a 3-hole and then add a soap dispenser, but I went with the 3-hole plus sprayer. What's above mowing for quality? Is it Kohler? I don't know, but as I understand it, you can't get it's hard to get decent parts outside of a plumbing supply house now. But I find that hard to believe. But they basically say, yeah, if you want a good one, you got to go to a plumbing supply house. They sell all the good stuff, and it's very expensive. Instead of spending $79 to $99, you're going to spend like, $150 to $250. But instead of being a plastic base with a chrome, plate that goes over the top, a very thin metal chrome cover, and with a plastic, insert underneath it, it'll be all brass. And instead of having one connector in the middle, it'll have 2 connectors that'll be brass on the outside to connect to the 2 outside holes. So there's that. Looking for a garbage disposal? Any recommendations? We went nuts, and I tell you, it's been good. Never had a problem with it. Let me see if I can find. It was expensive. I'm not gonna lie. It was expensive. Let me see if I can find it here. Incinerator. Yeah. You see how they have the standard, the power. I've got this one, like the Evolution Supreme. You know what I'm saying? I'm stupid. I got like the top one. I got like, it's like this. It's enormous. It's pretty goddamn ridiculous. You gonna work? No? Nothing? Well, those don't look like it. Mine's much bigger. Looks more like that one, maybe. Continuous feed. Yeah, that's about right. I think we spent about $275. It's almost $300. That sounds about right. Let me just see if I can go. Can I go to let me get rid of this. Let me just clear all. Let me just see what they have in stock. And then can I sort by price? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. It's like this stupid thing. That's what we got. Yeah, that's right. It was a 3/4 horsepower. That sounds right. But it's much bigger than this. And it's like over 10 years old. But it's massive. I need a disposal that will connect with my Bluetooth. said no one ever. So freaking dry. So, for those of you following the trailer and the trailer saga, we can do a little trailer talk. Took it out today for the first time in I don't know how long, because I finally had even my wife said, she goes, you're probably only about 80% full. She said, but it's going to get messy because you can't, what I was doing is I was raking them down one side of it and opening up a place so I could empty the bag, right? So that I have plenty of room to empty the bag inside. And man, I've been working that thing for the last week. Countless pickups, going around and using the yard vac and whatever. So finally today she was like, even though it was 25 degrees out, let's convert this for my Celsius friends. That would be about -4. So it is 25 degrees Fahrenheit or -4 Celsius, and we decide we're going to go to the dump, and I throw a couple of rakes in the back. The thing's already covered. And we left really early to get up there early. And we back it there, and it was like the never-ending story. We were raking that out, and it was like, oh my God, this is a lot of leaves. And they were so dense because they had really, she even said, she goes, wow, she goes, this is really mulched down. She goes, it's so dusty. I'm like, I know. Luckily, there was a pretty good wind, so we weren't really just sitting there in the dust. In a wind to our back, we were kind of like upwind. And we were raking that out and raking it out and going in there and raking more down. Oh my! And finally, I said, I got to pull the trailer up. There's no way we're getting the rest of this out. We're already up. We have a bed out here as big as I got to pull this up. So I pulled it up like 3 or 4 feet, and we finally got the rest of it out. Oh my God, what a friggin'! That was a lot of leaves. Again, because of the mulching. So it's finally back. So I when I got it home, rather than, back it down into the driveway, I left it out front, and I took the old chimenea, which weighs a ton. It's cast iron. God, the thing is so heavy. I took the chimenea and brought that down to the front and threw that in the back of the trailer. In the old yard vac that had exploded a couple of weeks ago, I threw that back there, and then I drove back up to the dump and just dropped that off at the metal dumpster and hightailed it the hell out of there. They were pretty busy, and I was able to very quickly, get that all cleaned out, and then threw the trailer back. Man, it's just so friggin' awesome. It's been a game changer, Use a snow shovel. That's not a bad idea. I brought 2 rakes, but I almost needed to bring like a garden hoe or a pitchfork, right? Have someone get a pitchfork in there and just start, trying to move it down. It's heavy, though. They get so dense, ridiculously heavy. Do they make a mulch fork? Is that the one with the real thin, small tines? I think the one I have is the flat, which is, I think, a garden fork. On job sites now, the Makita blower is a huge backsaver. You know what? I'm thinking about getting just a. I have a bunch of tools for that Ryobi 1. Battery system from, I think, Home Depot. That's a Home Depot thing. So I think I can get just the blower attachment. That it doesn't come with a battery or a charger if you already have the ecosystem. And it's not that much money, and it would be good just to blow everything out of the back of the thing at the very end, but we'll see. It's like a pitchfork, but wider, and the tines are scooped. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Oh, interesting. I let it too long here on the side. You drop a simple tarp in the bottom. I tried that. We did that the first time we went up, and it was so heavy. We couldn't lift the tarp out from underneath the stuff. We were able to drag it right off, but now it's on the ground on the tarp. I said, well, let's just lift the tarp up. We couldn't get the tarp up. I had to there was another guy who was like, oh, I'll help you. He came over, he's like, ready, 1, 2, 3. Lifting. A lot of the leaves were wet. There was some heavy stuff in there, which I was glad to have the tarp to not get the wood wet. But yeah, damn. No, that was, I was like, oh man, I know. I was like, I can just see this. I just think if I did that, if I couldn't get them, like with the weight, get the tarp to come over and flip over, if I have to pull it out like on its bottom and then flip it over on the ground, I could see it be in trouble. It's almost a little bit easier just to try and work it off with the rake, you know, because I brought one garden rake, which is completely stiff, and then one leaf rake. Making a tilt bed trailer at a conveyor belt. You know, you anchor it prior to moving the trailer. Yeah, but you still got to get the. Yeah, and then I guess the only other thing you could do is, well, you still got to get the leaves out from on top of the tarp. That was the problem we had there. We were able to drag it off, no problem. Now we can't get the tarp out from under all the leaves. They were so wet, and I was like, oh my God, that was tough. For yard waste, you're supposed to put an old pallet in the front. And you just anchor and pull it out. Yeah. Well, there's no place to anchor it there, though, but I get you right there. You know what I need? I need a house where one of the sides of my lot is just woods. Where, like, my backyard is just, like, undeveloped. And I just go out there with my blower and blow all the leaves into the friggin' woods. That's what I need. Because it's like, just dealing with this is always it's making it easier, but it's still not easy. The easiest would be if I just had some woods on one side of me. And you just dump that. Gone. See ya. That's what you do, Zach? Yeah. You know, I'd have to move away from the city. There's not too many places this close to the city where you have woods on one side of you. Yeah, Super Lee, that's your backyard. Woods, yeah. Yeah, dare to dream. Yeah, I told my dad about that OLED TV on sale for $550. He's like obsessed with it. I'm like, you don't need a TV. He's like, that's a really good price. I'm like, don't buy things because they're good prices. But it is a really good price for OLED. You got woods, you got foxes and coyotes. I don't see foxes, but we get coyotes. Exactly 10 TVs later. Exactly. You're dead center in Mass. Yeah. Out in Worcester County. "12 acres, everything but bears and wolves." And that's probably a good thing. Out in your backyard, have a bear. Here's the dreams. Oh, thank you, Vimps. Someday. I get that house with nobody behind me. You imagine? Imagine that. Woods on one or more sides. My dream house. Plus, like a 2 or 3 car garage in the house, but then a separate, like, barn or something. We were looking at some house, and I told her, I said, this house is enormous, and it has, like a horse paddock. She's like, no. I'm like, look at it. She goes, oh, my God, that is. I go, that looks like a lot of work. This house looks like a money pit. I do not own a guitar shop. Though I worked for one between 1985 and 1995. Yeah, you see foxes around here once in a while. But it's really coyotes. That's what we see most. One, either a solitary or a pair. And deer. I saw a deer out there the other night. Couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God. You don't really see deer on my street. We're not too far from the downtown. But made its way over. I was like, wow, that's pretty far. From a woodsy area. Any new unboxings? I think I have a box show up. I got a guitar that I'll be displaying this week. And Donna sent me a guitar like over a month ago, but I haven't heard back from them on what the timing is on that. You know, I'd love a barn, especially a barn that has full electricity and like a wood-burning stove. You know, probably like a second floor. Not to get too specific, but would it kill you to have 2 floors with full electricity and complete, Ethernet? Nice 10 gigabit fiber optic running out there. Thank you, Rev Gary Scotland. 2 things all barns have are mice and pigeons. Well, I'll bring cats. Cats are pretty good. I didn't tell you. Cutie caught another mouse this week. And she stalked it forever. The thing got away, got behind these amps right here, and she stayed down here for like 6 hours. Finally, the mouse came out and she got it. And when I left, it was Cutie, Sweetie, and Buddy all kind of standing around, watching a mouse pretty much shit itself to death. And I was like, I'm not going to watch this. I went to bed. I don't know what happened. I felt bad for the mouse, but I was like, I've already saved this mouse's lives. Like, it's on its 3rd life. Only cats get 9 lives. Mice get 3. Exactly. They're like high-fiving each other. My cat has not sent me another voice text, but it did FaceTime me the other day. So. No, we took Buddy to the vet, and even the vet said, yeah, I think Buddy's kind of a smart cat. I go, oh, well, he texted me the other day. Exactly, you need a loft. Gotta have a loft, and you gotta have a wood-burning stove. You know, exactly. Car lift, maybe a stage. He knew my phone number. Well, my wife had texted me about dinner, and then a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds later, she sends me a text of Buddy purring for 1 second. So when I saw her, I go, yeah, you sent me. I go, that I wrote her back. I go, that sounds like Buddy. And she's like, what? I'm like, the voice text. She's like, I didn't send that. And she realized that she had left the phone open, face up, because she never, like, turns the screen off for some reason. God, I remember we traded a phone and the screen burn-in was so bad from, like, her, because she never turns the freaking screen off. So she had the screen on, and he was all purring and bumping his head, and he apparently hit the microphone long enough to record himself purring for 1 second, and then sent it. Yeah, one time I returned a phone. It was a trade-in, and as I restarted it, you do a factory reset. I could see the name of her work and their phone number perfectly burned into that screen, her work number, and the name of her work, because she always had it on and she'd never turn the screen off. Leave the screen on, just burned it right in, so bad. I was like, oh man, you got to turn the screen off sometimes. You're going to get screen burn-in. No. She won't even show me your phone screen time. I think I average on my phone, like if I went through and looked at it, I think it's like 40 minutes a day. My average screen time is like 40 minutes, like between 30 and 40 minutes. I'm sure hers is like, 7 hours. He's on her phone a lot. But it's mostly work. Mostly. Not all, but a lot of work. It's what she uses for phone calls and for some app that they use through work for texting. Even because it's even faster than having to go through, like, to get on a laptop and do it. So she's always, always on that thing. Yeah, I got to have the talk with Buddy now that he's using FaceTime and the internet. It's only going to be a matter of time before a giant kitty condo shows up. I'm going to be like, who the hell ordered this? Buddy's going to be like, what? We should probably keep it. God. That said, I do probably have, 20 hours of screen time a day myself on the computer. Just because I don't use my phone doesn't mean I'm not on a screen. I am on a screen. I'm just on my computer screen. I just don't use my phone. Because the phone is, I just see it as a giant tracking device. It's like they give up way more. There's so much more they can track on a phone versus on a regular computer, especially if you take. That's one thing I've noticed is now that all the browsers have tracking cookies, filtered out, site after site is breaking. All of a sudden your site doesn't work. I want to look at this map. Oh no, you have to allow our experience tracking cookies so you can have the best experience. What are you tracking? Just every other website you visit. I just want to help you with your experience. But with my what? With your experience. Yeah. Just helping your experience. You just It's like so bad. Yeah, do you want to accept the cookies? No. And then the site takes a temper tantrum. Well, then you shouldn't even be looking at this site. Maybe you need another site. It's like, and again, the only reason why they even say, "Do you want to accept cookies?" because they were forced to ask, right? Someone forced it. It was so funny. Apple came out and said, "We're going to allow RCS. We're going to support RCS." Turns out that someone had filed a suit under the same, standards commission in the EU that forced them to go to USB-C, and they said they should be forced to support RCS. And like the day before their answer was due, they came out and said, "We're supporting RCS not because you're making us, because we want to." Uh-huh. Sure. Oh, sure. Of course. I would love to know what some of those essential cookies are, too. Just one of our essential tracking cookies. What? Oh, yeah, you just got your SFB Joyo? We got to figure that out. Something. Tuner. Yeah, I tell you, that was the second. I would say the strings were the most popular item. The Diodario guitar strings, because it's a good item. You need the strings eventually, you know, at some point, and they're plastic sealed, so they last on the shelf. And I would say the second one was the Joyo tuner, and then after that, probably the headphones, and then it's just all miscellaneous after that. Those were the big three. The strings by far number one, and then Joyo. A lot of people were very upset with the music. And I thought did sound a little louder on YouTube, but I bet it compressed it a little bit. So just made it a little bit louder. I almost did you should have seen the other one, and I was going to have very high music with me, like, super, like over modulating the mic and a lot of sirens and flares going off, but I didn't have time. I was like, you should have seen the other one. Yeah. Yeah, the new Peterson clip-on strobe. I think they've had a couple of iterations of that. I like the Strobo Stomp because it's got the sweetened tunings. I think the clip-on does the sweetened tunings, but just not as many. Sweetwater had the Ernie Ball 12-pack for $50. So what does that work out to? That might not be as good a deal. I'd have to, let's just do the quick math on this. So 50 divided by 12 is $4.16 a set. Versus, I want to say it was 36, right? 36.99 divided by, hold on. Back up one. Divided by, about $3.69 a set. So, good deal for Ernie Ball, but just as strings in general. That Diodario, that was a really good deal. Per pack. 10 sets for $36. That's friggin'. If I didn't have so many friggin' sets of strings here, thanks to Gary Davlin, I have like a several year supply of strings now. I would have bought a pack. I would have bought a box without a doubt. AliExpress 10 packs for $10 to $12. Good enough. There you go. You know, I heard someone was I don't really use the paradigms, the paradigms from Ernie Ball, but I've heard some reviews that say that the they're supposed to be like an unbreakable string, or they barely break, they last longer and all this stuff. Turns out some people were saying that the alloy was denting their stainless steel frets. They're like, I don't know what they're using for an alloy, but it's killing my friggin' frets. They're like, I've had these stainless steel frets. I've had no problem for all these years. I used the Paradigm strings, and I'm noticing grooves, and I'm noticing divots. They're like, what the hell? So clearly, whatever they're using for an alloy, maybe it's a little too strong, a little bit too much. I'm gonna stick with the regular Ernie balls, like those, rather than the paradigms. Oh, they're shifting the paradigm. What if our strings were so hard they ruined your frets? Ugh. That would be a shift in the paradigm. Yeah, with the 9 through 42 is a couple bucks more. I was hoping they were going to be around the same money, but even when I posted that, the reason why I posted all those screenshots is because Amazon can't be trusted. They change their prices 3 times a friggin' day. So I didn't know how long any of those prices were going to last. And so the reason why I did all those screenshots was because I wanted to say, no, seriously, it was 50% off. I'm telling you. It was 50% off, or it was like 46% off, because I just felt like Amazon, they're just a moving target, right? They whatever they feel like they can get in the moment. So I hope people were able to get the deals that I showed, but you're at their mercy. It's bizarre how much Amazon prices breathe during the day. You know what? I think it's all bots. Like, for example, I know for a fact that a lot of computer items are directly tied to whatever Newegg prices are at. If Newegg drops it from $102 to $96 miraculously within seconds, the Amazon listing goes from $102 to $96 for the same exact friggin' listing. So I feel like that they use bot crawlers like crazy, Amazon, and they just find out what their competitors are doing, and they try to be, within a penny of whatever their competitor's doing, and hopefully the prime shipping and you just used to using them as a vendor will override you saving maybe a buck or two going to somebody else, right? It really does feel like it's almost like a real-time pricing scheme. Yeah, well, it's still a good deal, right, Super Lead? Even though it's $38 instead of $36 or $39, whatever you paid, it's still better than paying full price, which I want to say is $54 is what they normally get for the 10-back. I don't really see it much cheaper than that. Maybe down into the 40s, 48, something like that. But usually I think it's around 54. I want to say they list at 69, $6.99 a set. Beats going to any store. Well, this is the first year, and it was probably the pandemic that did this, is that people said, why am I going out and standing in line? Right? They said that people didn't go out and stand in lines to get crazy deals at like A lot of those Black Friday deals where you had to go wait in a big line and they had 2 computers for, you know, $2.99 and everything else was $12.99. Those days seem to be over when they would have crazy lines at like Best Buy or Circuit City. That seems to be kind of over. The Black Friday deals start on Monday, and they run through like Sunday, and then Cyber Monday starts the next Monday. It feels like there's been a big shift in people's shopping habits, and now they're like, when it got to the pandemic, they were like, what am I doing out here standing in line? I'll just order it and have it show up at my front door, without a doubt. Yeah, and you can get better deals online too, without a doubt. You know. Yeah, clearance items can be pretty crazy too. I think the biggest one, the one that was kind of crazy, was 80% off on Tonex. Again, because it's software, you can just, pull a price out of your ass, because it's not like you've got to ship out a box of metal, and that box of metal costs you, like a pedal. It costs you X amount of money, right? This is just a delivery system online, and you can. How about 80% off? I thought that was pretty good. Yeah, I think those days are over. Too much online shopping now. Yeah, I agree. I think the pandemic really nudged us over to the online versus waiting in line. Now we just have to wait in line for lunch. Still no getting around that. We tried the duck donuts again. Because the kids came home for Thanksgiving. They wanted to try it, so we got one. They loved it. They were like, Ermager. We're like, oh yeah. Oh no, they're pretty amazing. Do I ever play acoustics? I do. I got a couple of nice acoustics. I don't know if you noticed, but there's an acoustic right there. If it was a snake, it would have killed me. Am I doing a U up tonight? Probably not. I was up so early this morning. We'll see. Let's see if I can knock down 10 espressos. But highly unlikely. I was literally sleeping in my chair like 20 minutes before I came on here. I was in my chair. I was like, I could hear myself snoring. I was like, oh man, this is, wake up! You got a show to do, damn it. Well, I'm falling asleep over there. Still got the old Ibanez Les Paul? I sure do. I do, indeedly doodly. Well, you know. All right, dudes, it is 9:01 p.m., which means I have got to call it a night and go, well, make another coffee, I suppose. Maybe not. But try not to have so much coffee so late. It's not good. Not good. Late coffee, but what's late? Midnight? 12:30? I don't know. We'll discuss. Anyway. Yeah, that's some sense of self-accusation. You hear yourself snoring and tell yourself to wake up. Let me tell you. I was like, wait, what's that snoring noise? Oh, wait, the snoring is coming from inside the house. Dudes, thanks so much for hanging out. What a wonderful... This night flew by. It flew by so quickly. Have a wonderful week. I got a cat coming over. Oh, no. Yeah, there you go. Wave your paw in the air. Wave it like you just don't care. Feet up. I will see you guys in a week. I hope you have a wonderful week. Super thanks to everyone for hanging out tonight. Super extra special thanks for anyone who contributed. That's always appreciated. And, of course, Brofist to my Mod Squad. Hashtag Brofist. Hashtag Mod Squad. And we will do it all again 1 week from tonight. And maybe I'll get a guitar video out this week. I did get, I think, another guitar show up here, but I haven't had a chance to look at anything because I'm putting new faucets in, you know, that. But have a wonderful week. I will see you guys all in a week, if not sooner with a video. You never know. And there you go. And we'll do it all again next week. So everybody have a wonderful week. And we'll do it all again next week. And there you go. All right. Know you rock. All right, dudes. Have a great one. Don't forget to catch Ben Coombs. He'll be live. I think it's tomorrow night, right, Ben? 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ben Coombs. And I think sometimes he does a Monday show as well. Check his channel for all your latest listings. And there you go. All right. Have a wonderful night. And later.